Alright, I think we're recording. I won't even bother looking. You just hope. Feeling a bit crappy today, but anyway, endeavor to persevere. Quite sad that you don't even have the basic courtesy to check your own claims about beam splitters. So again, just an amazing statement. I of course have checked my claims about beam splitters, and I haven't found any that do not involve manipulating photons, which causes them to be interfered with. Yeah, you didn't know that? No, apparently not. And instead just present it as facts. Yes, it is. What I state are what I claim to be facts. If you don't think they're facts, your obligation is to provide counter evidence demonstrating how they're not facts. Even though it has been pointed out to you multiple times, just another lie, preposterous lie, that diffraction gradients lose their effect. There's no fact. That's not a fact. You don't have any evidence of that whatsoever. Nowhere. I can play you a lot of Professor Lewin clips demonstrating that's not a fact. When their openings are smaller than their wavelengths. So he just made that up. That you won't find that anywhere in the known universe as a fact. It in fact happens exactly the opposite. I could play Walter Lewin going, as I make the opening smaller, the pattern gets wider and wider and wider, and he just keeps getting wider and wider and wider. It doesn't stop and go, oh no, we're regular photons again. That doesn't happen anywhere in the known universe. You're just a liar. That's why your comment has been removed, because it's a lie. This is what this channel is built on. So this is what you are built out of, is just lies. Just lies stacked on top of lies. So again, he says it can't be demonstrated as a truth. It's just absolute nonsense. Diffraction gradients shoot the light incredible distances over just short distances. With the two-slitted pattern, you could go 3 meters before you get a pattern that might be 10 inches across. With a diffraction gradient, you can get, 3 meters of diffraction in a meter of distance. So you're the preposterous liar here. Now another comment by the same liar. The argument about the shift has already been presented to you way before. There's no argument. You don't have any evidence. Again, I could just show you the message board where I asked Professor Lewin for the evidence. He could produce none. And you dismissed the math. No, I dismissed the fact that there's any such evidence demonstrating that there is any math to defend. It's not a physical fact. In any case, your nonsense about catching eggs, well, it's obviously not nonsense. It's a real principle that things are thrown and things are caught. Now, maybe you don't think that's how the universe works. You think forces just happen. They just, no, nothing. I didn't have to make the force. I didn't have to eject the force. And it is an ejection. So you're an idiot. You think everything happens instantaneously. The force just instantaneously is on the outside of the object. The force doesn't have to go through any process to get out of the matter it's ejected by. You're an idiot. Alright, let's see. Eggs doesn't do anything to change how frequency is registered. Well, I'm arguing that of course it has a huge impact. It makes all the difference, essentially. Frequency is registered by timing. Yes, and your timing changes when you have to waste time, okay, doing extra motions. So when the atoms do something quicker because they're moving in the same direction, or they do something slower because they're moving in the same direction, that means that you've changed the energy equation. And when you change the energy equation, that'll be realized either in lowering the frequency or lowering the intensity of the photon. Now, I would argue you can't lower the intensity of photons, so the only way to have less power is to have less bits. which means you have to have a longer frequency. Retard. Okay, frequency is registered by timing the peaks of the waves hitting you. Again, you believe in waves because you're silly and stupid and ignorant and dumb. And that's for all of you. You know, I just mean, there's absolutely no reason to believe photons are waves. Everything they do, and actually when they do something, has no appearance of being wave-like. The force isn't spread. It doesn't lose energy. There's not a weak point and a strong point. Photons look nothing like a wave, you dumbass. Alright, doesn't matter how hard or how soft. So more nonsense about, yes, that's exactly how the power equation has to work. That if you're taking speed off of it, then you end up lowering the frequency. So this reduces the question to a purely kinematic one. Well, you can keep lying about the truth. That's not what it reduces to. But in a sense, ultimately it is. But you don't want to recognize that the kinematics are more complicated than just saying everything's a hard body, including the photons, and when you ejected them, there's absolutely no consequence to how they're absorbed. So their speed, that is the relative speed, if I'm moving the same speed as the thing is, so he's basically saying, say if I could actually get a little jet ski and I could actually go 10,000 miles an hour, and somebody shot a bullet, and they shot a bullet at me, but I'm going 10,000 miles an hour. I could actually just watch the bullet coming towards me, and I could just flick it right out of the way. That's a fact that this idiot doesn't think is true. He thinks that violates kinematics. Well, it doesn't violate kinematics. So you're an idiot. Frequency is registered by timing the... Okay, we did that. Which is what you have a severe trouble with. No, you seem to have a severe trouble with it. You don't understand that the light coming from Venus is old light, meaning Venus is in a different location now. So you're too stupid to figure that out. You think you see the sun where it actually is in terms of the in association to the Earth. Like, we've moved on quite a bit. Since the light left the sun, we moved on quite a bit. Anyway, to resolve your question, all you have to do is work out the example where things are moving at some speed. No, all you have to do is provide a piece of evidence somewhere. You're the one making the claim that there's a difference. I'm saying there's absolutely not one shred of evidence indicating there's any difference. Not one speed of sound test that's ever been done demonstrating whether and how it matters whether the redshift is caused by the emitter or the redshift is caused by the receiver. You say it's a fact, yet you haven't got a shred of evidence demonstrating it's a fact. So the speed of sound or half of the speed of sound to make it easy. And again, what does it have to do with anything? I have no obligation to do the experiment. You're asserting a fact for which there's zero evidence. Why do I have to do the experiment to prove you wrong? That's silly. So here's a suggestion. Well, you can go fuck yourself and die. I hope you die horribly because you're a lousy, rotten piece of shit of a human being. You deserve to get what you deserve. How do you like that? Get what you deserve. So just think about that for a while. I know my hopes don't mean anything, but that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping you get exactly what you deserve. You're a shithead, and you deserve to be shit on. Stop spouting nonsense mush like a sissy. Well, obviously you're the one who's a coward. I'm sitting here saying, "Come into the room, pussy," and then you can answer some of my questions for a change, pussy. You can explain your theory of how light gets here instantaneously. And work out the actual kinematics in detail. I don't have to work. Again, you keep saying that this is my theory. No, it's not my theory that there's a difference. That's your idiotic theory. So you defend it. Go and search up your previous videos where the examples were presented to you directly. There was no example provided. So again, this is just such a lie. There was no example presented. Zero. All they've presented is an animation. And as I pointed out, the animation has nothing to do with catching and receiving. It has nothing to do with how long it takes the the force to enter something when the thing is moving the same speed as it. Just as I pointed out with the bullet, you can sort of understand, right? You can sort of understand that the bullet's going to go into the person very slowly if they're going the same speed as the bullet, almost the same speed, a little bit less, a few miles an hour less. You can, it's like the quarter in that X-Men movie or whatever it was, right? And the quarter goes through the guy's brain, or the dollar, whatever the fuck it was. Same idea. And they think that doesn't matter. That the slowness of how the force is going to be interacting isn't going to change the frequency of how it's being received. When of course it is, because the thing is moving away. And the same thing's going to happen when it's forward moving. It's going to have to load a little extra. It's going to have to spend a little more time loading the gun. Anyway, so I guess that's it for those two, right? Yeah, okay. Just garbage. Lies, garbage. Alright, so on to the still existing but also garbage commenters. Moldy. Quantum physics doesn't propose consciousness affects anything. Says you. Okay, I mean, obviously 1/3 of the physicists sort of buy into this crap, so you can pretend they don't, but they do. That Al-Kahari guy talks about how quantum has something to do with the existence of life on Earth and shit. So they believe all kinds of wacky shit. So I never stated that one-third of the physicists believe in any of this conscious effects. I'm just saying that the most viewed physics video on YouTube, Dr. Quantum, does suggest that. So, and many physicists, when they're bringing up the mystery of quantum mechanics, bring up the mystery of the detectors, and how the detectors, when we look at the results, then the results change. And they pretend that was a real experiment, and no one ever did this experiment. Just as nobody put the cat in Schrodinger's box. It is interfering with it by trying to measure it. They don't believe that the measurement is causing the effect of not being able to measure it. So they don't believe the ruler's too big, and that's why we can't measure where the photon is. They think the photon doesn't have a location. So there's a fact. The fact is we can't measure photons. And so because we can't, one of the few things in the universe we can't measure is one of the few things they think is magical. Now, isn't that sort of a coincidence? Right? All the stuff we can measure isn't doing anything funky. Okay, this pen isn't in two places at once, and it doesn't know, I don't know where I am. But the things we can't see, we can't measure, they're the things that are somehow doing the wacky crap. Isn't that just a little bit too convenient? Yeah, it's a little too convenient, shithead. Jesus. Garbage comment. Alright. Your theory is the best approximation of reality so far I saw. Whatever, not a very good sentence. I don't buy conventional physics 1 cent. Say 1 iota usually, but whatever. It's horse shit to me for a long time. I felt it was fishy before a long time ago. I discovered your channel. What I was suggesting in my last comment, yeah, but obviously English isn't your first language, and I don't care for your suggestions, frankly. In your comment, in your some former video, was that your approximation of reality is the most accurate I ever encountered. So don't pay any attention to this, because he's going to throw it all away in a minute. But as you said, as I am sad, I am too sophisticated. I don't think so. And for me, a complete theory should explain how the forces rebound from the far edges of the universe. Well, I'm just saying the detail you want is idiotic to expect. I don't know what do you think I have some kind of special technology here? I can do special magical things like see things nobody else can see. I mean, it's just such a ludicrous expectation. If you want a theory that does that, then you're out of luck, fuckhead. God. Try God. They have lots of explanations in the Bible. I mean, they're ludicrous, but they're explanations. If that is the case, in order to give a continuous bombardment of force upon matter and how matter interacts with force at the very basic level, force to matter interaction, that's all my responsibility is, frankly. I just have to explain the evidence. I don't have to answer questions that idiots should know better than to ask. You want answers to questions. It's like somebody saying, well, unless you can draw an exact picture of what the monkey who had the first human look like, the theory of evolution's no good. It's a retarded thing to say. I don't buy your argument that force and free space are not interacting with each other. Well, I explicitly explained to you that their interaction can't possibly be detectable, you fucking asshole. I mean, I explained this already so many times. You can't understand? If it's kinetic, if the other troll is correct, and we have to pay a little bit of attention to kinetics and that the conservation of energy, then you know that when two things collide into each other, they essentially have to do this if you're not going to have them bleed or something. If there's no blood, if there's no goo flying off, if there's no photons, if there's no nothing, all there is these two things as the energy holders, then the energy has to go somewhere, and it goes this way. The two things leave this way. Now, if they miss each other, what do you think happens? Oh, the two things go this way. So what I said was, all right, whether they interact or don't interact is completely irrelevant, because the fact is the universe can't change. Interaction is indistinguishable from action, asshole, on a force-on-force level. The only way you can make the interactions create imbalance is that this thing hits something, and now it's not going the speed of light anymore, because it's going in a circle, so to speak. And so now this thing moves much, much slower as it holds this thing's energy. And it moves much, much, much slower. Now the universe changed. Now this didn't go where it was going. But again, I already explained this to you personally. Fuck. Let's see. Matter interacts with force at the basic level. In order to give a continuous bombardment of force upon matter and how matter interacts with force at the very basic level, force to matter interaction, period. It's not a sentence. I don't buy your argument that force and free space are not interacting, so that's where we left off, with each other, because the opposite forces are in different planes. I don't know what to say to you. They're not opposite forces, okay? They're positive and negative, which are different forces. Now, you might want to call them opposites, okay. It's probably not too big a violation. But your point is idiotic. I'm just saying, to fit the evidence, you have to explain certain phenomenon that exist. And when the phenomenon exists is that there's this idea that energy goes into something. It doesn't make it hot. It doesn't make it heat up or do anything like a magnet. And somehow the energy is changed in its direction. So without getting hot, without doing any work, without moving, the magnet changes the direction of the energy and segregates it to create magnetism. Now, my theory can't create magnetism if red and black force can hit each other in free space. Then magnets wouldn't be necessary. Everything would be magnetic. So you have to have some kind of limitation to the rules, or it's not going to fit the evidence. So yes, an easy explanation for why they don't interact is just to understand that, yes, the universe is a hugely big place, and it's hugely got tiny little things in it. And the two things just don't run in the same plane. They're alternate. The space they can travel on is alternate. So it's just as big a universe for both of them, but they just can't run on each other's tracks. Shit. It explains why, idiot. All right, your argument that force and free space are to me, all right, with each other because of opposite forces are in different planes. That's to me a hypothesis, and it's not better than bent space. So if you don't think it's better than bent space, just fuck off. I mean, if you can't see the fucking difference, I've not only explained how magnets work, I've given you one force that does light, magnetism, electricity, all of it. I've unified all of fucking physics. And you're saying it's not any better than bent space. And what do you want me to say to that? Except, fuck you, you're stupid as hell. You can't tell the difference? I'm drawing you pictures, actual diagrams of function, giving you reasonable explanations for why events occur, because there's a real force. Gravity's a real force. Light is a real force. Electricity is made of a real force. Magnetism is made of a real force. Not virtual, not bent geometry. And here you are bitching and saying something, like I said, that's so offensive to me. I can't, oh yeah, it's no better than. Except for all the details I've provided. So, except for all the details I've provided, it's no better. Fuck you. I understand that your theory must be based on some axioms. Well, yeah, oh yeah, and they're so fucking rudimentary, right? Their axioms are way up here. Virtual photon. They're creating invisible man, not here at the elemental. They're way up here. They're creating dark matter. They're creating all kinds of fake shit as axioms. Like other theories, because we cannot go below a certain point. Well, then why did you just tell me I had to? Why did you just tell me you can't understand otherwise? If you understand that, yeah, I don't have some sort of supersonic vision or something, shithead. And also be productive. But I assume that a complete theory must go beyond matter. Well, again, yeah, let's see, the whole theory is based on the premise that there's matter and there's force. There's force bits moving the speed of light, and there's matter bits that have no innate velocity until a force acts on them. Oh, shit. Anyway, beyond matter in order to complete one. Yeah, just fuck you. Keep up the good work. Yeah, fuck you. And I will follow you as much as I can, such as doing so for a couple years. Crappy face. I'm just saying, it's hopeless for you, okay? Your expectations are retarded. To say I haven't done any better than, bending a piece of fabric and saying, look, it's the inverse square law. It bends. It's the inverse square law. There. I've explained gravity because I've given you a physical model that duplicates the inverse square law as long as you have gravity pushing down on it. Right? Their model needs gravity to work. So their model explaining gravity needs gravity to work. And you're bitching at me. That's amazing. For details that no rational person could even imagine I could acquire. I don't even know how you imagine I could possibly provide you an explanation for whether or not the universe is a bubble. Like there's some way I could prove it or disprove it. I don't know how you can even imagine how I could possibly do that. All I can do is suggest why it would work. If the energy bounces off the bubble and comes back with no frequency, broken, then that explains gravity. Shit. Simple. If the universe is endless, it explains gravity. If a lot of things. I'm just saying it's one possible explanation. That's all I can provide. And you have to use your reasoning skills to say, well, yeah, that sounds a lot more likely than a vacuum cleaner inside of every single atomic bit sucking up space. Yeah, it sounds a lot more likely. Fuck. I mean, like, even people on my side are not on my side. Hit the enemy. So let's see if there's anything else here to comment on. Probably not. You know, this Sean Carroll wasting his time talking about the psychology of murderers. You know, what a waste of time. The Saturday thing was a pretty boring. Jeff He's a nice guy, but yeah, all this quarks creating wave crap. Again, this whole idea that waves can destructively interfere without the consequence of the energy having to go somewhere. So I mean, two waves can't just hit each other and oh, there we canceled it all out. There's no more energy problem. They either have to pass through each other. So in spite of the fact that they're destructive, they passed right through each other and continue on their way. Or if the water is going to actually stop, or the ether is going to actually stop, then it has to release a bunch of the energy. The energy has to go this way or this way. It has to go some way. Okay, it has to keep being energy. There's no plus energy and minus energy. So even when stuff is going like this, and it looks, oh, that's plus and minus. It really isn't. That's the same as the kinetic balls doing this. If they're doing this, it's the same damn thing. You can't undo the energy. So you have to explain if the energy doesn't shoot back, which is the same thing as missing, as I pointed out before, which you haven't accomplished anything, right? I mean, what good is to have two waves bang into each other when it's the same as the two waves passing right through each other? What's the difference, right? So the only way it can matter is there has to be a consequence in terms of energy released. So if they collide and they smash, and the bits fly, the energy bits fly out, then you have something that happens. But then you have to account for it. Let's see if there's anything else. I don't think so. Everybody's quite boring. There's really nothing to deal with. There's no conversation to be had. Everybody's a fucking idiot. It's just so depressing. Let's see if Ken Wheeler has anything new or / interesting or anything. Raw files. Ooh, how exciting. No, just all crap. So he did this field theory video, but I won't even play it because it's just jargon. He doesn't, let's play some of it. He doesn't say a damn thing in the whole video.
Discovered. I like your card, but I'm absolutely not paying an annual fee.
So now we're forced to watch 15-minute ads to get all the wonderful magic of the Ken Wheeler. So he gets 243 thumbs up and 29 thumbs down for a video of just absolute babble. Not a rational statement in the whole thing. Not one
card. Something I need to tell you first off, and it should be easy even for a child to understand. We know what a tug of war is, right? What about like an arm wrestling contest, right? You got like two people trying to like pull each other over an arm wrestle. It's a struggle between two different things. There's two different force modalities. One of them is not a force. You see, one of them is inertia and acceleration.
So there's two kinds of force. No, it's not really force. It's inertia and acceleration. So whatever that means. Like things just automatically accelerate. Okay. Is that what he's saying? What is he saying? Inertia and acceleration. We know that the only thing that changes inertial states is energy. Some sort of force has to act on the object. So why is that complicated?
Fundamentally, you only have force and motion and inertia and acceleration.
Force and motion. So force is a good word. All right. I don't know why the motion part. Obviously, it wouldn't be a force if it wasn't moving, right? Right. I mean, if I don't move my little pushy finger, no one would say I'm pushing, right? If I just hold it here, not doing anything, they wouldn't call that force. They just say that's a finger. It's not force. I have to move it. Duh. Inertia and acceleration. All right. And so these two things, he says, are having an arm wrestling battle. I mean, yeah. I mean, how do you make any sense out of that? So obviously forces cause acceleration. Newton could tell you that. So they're not in conflict at all. A force acts on it, it accelerates. I mean...
The only reason the visible universe exists is due solely to magnetism. Now, magnetism is a dielectric field. This means the loss of inertia or potential, i.e. energy, of the dielectric manifests as this toroidal bubble, and this, of course, creates.
Okay, so how could that mean anything to anybody? So this dielectric manifests as a toroidal bubble. How does that explain why magnets attract? How does that explain current in a wire? How does it explain lightning? How does it explain a single phenomenon in the known universe?
Space, time doesn't exist. Neither does space have any properties.
Oh well, again, time doesn't exist, space doesn't exist, energy doesn't exist, nothing exists. It's just so ludicrous, and people, again, they thumb this crap up. Tell me more, complete nothing. Say more nothing. I just love nothing. How can anybody defend human beings? I mean, they have so eaten their own ass that this somehow there's humans that we are allowing to walk on sidewalks and stuff and drive cars that think this means something, that somehow this is a rational video.
By the way, is a direct quote from Nikola Tesla. So you have these two competing.
Yes, yeah. Nikola Tesla said in response to Einstein that space has no properties, but he never said this crap.
Entities. Okay, by the way, something else most of you don't know, and this is an absolute, and this, of course, has been confirmed ages ago by Tesla, Faraday, Steinmetz, James Clerk Maxwell, all the Heaviside, all the great gods of electrical theories, that the smaller the space, the higher the capacitance. But anyway, we have these two competing geometries, but
He has never proven any of that crap. No one says that. It's just retarded. There's nothing else to say. Obviously, you can the pressure when you push two plates together that are negatively charged, you would have more pressure because they're very close together and they don't like each other. So that's always going to create more capacitance in a sense. But it has nothing. You need a big plate to have it more. Big capacitors are big. Big capacitors are very different than little capacitors. It's not, and the little ones aren't more powerful. They're less powerful. It's just idiotic. I don't know why the volume's so low. See if we can pick it up a bit.
they're obviously intertwined, like yin and yang. Two sides of the coin. There's no such thing as a head side of a coin or a tail side of a coin. Well, sure there is.
Yeah, I mean, see, he just says this kind of crap, and you're just like, why would somebody waste their time using it in a metaphor where they claim there's no such thing as the head and the tail? I mean, it's stupid.
Who cares if you want to use 0-point energy or counter space or 0-point energy or non-Cartesian? The reality or the ether are all one and the same.
Right. So somehow the ether it's non-Cartesian. Somehow it fills the 3 dimensions, but it doesn't do it in any kind of rational 3-dimensional way. It doesn't fit into any coordinates or anything. It's not like a bowl of soup and the croutons are over here and this is over there and there's no location for any of this crap.
But this is the not inexplicable.
Yeah, excuse me. I keep saying things that are just double bullshit. I just want to stick to bullshit.
I meant to say undeniable, undeniable conjugate nature of the universe. Now,
right, undeniable conjugate nature of the universe. I mean, how could it possibly be undeniable when nobody rational has ever... No, I don't think there's ever been a conversation. I couldn't find another one on probably YouTube where some idiot starts talking about the conjugate of the universe. There's probably people who think the universe has a big penis. There's probably more people talking about the universe's big penis than talking about its conjugateness.
From macro to micro, of course, is undeniable. I mean, it is the incommensurability of the entire universe from the microscopic to the macrocosmic. And anyway, these people are unable to even define, and Stephen Carruthers, who I actually love his videos a lot, he's attacked the stupidity of Einstein and countless others, that their math is absolutely, insane and ludicrous because it is self-contradictory nonsense where everybody's trying to define a black hole.
Oh, no, that's not Einstein's math, actually. But anyway, Einstein put limits, Einstein, I think, recognized that, yes, this gravity well thing is getting out of hand when you make it infinite. That's cheating. But regardless, Carruthers, it was a trivial debunk of Einstein based on the stupid notion that because there has to be two bodies to have an interaction before you can actually write a force formula. There can't be any force until you know what the force is acting on, because it's a mutual inductive process. So you need both players or there's no baseball game.
As far as you have to know field theory, mathematics, a lot of different stuff to be able to put two and two together. You have to be able to see the bigger picture. And I just listening to all these so-called brilliant and highly acclaimed astronomers pontificate just complete and total atomic nonsense about what a black hole is. Of course, a black hole is not a hole, and it's certainly not black. Explaining a black hole is extremely simple.
They don't think it's a hole either, so, you know. But clearly black has to do with absorption of light, and they do think it absorbs light. So yes, it is black. I don't know what you think black is. You're a photographer, apparently. You think black means something else. It's reflecting black tons. Okay.
You have a mass, and that mass, of course, its attribute is magnitude. Like 1 pound of copper is X magnitude, right? 1 pound of hydrogen, for example, is, I forget how many square feet 1 pound of hydrogen translates into. It's rather huge.
Oh, not frozen hydrogen, but whatever.
I don't know what 1 pound of polymer would be, something like maybe 5 inches by 5 inches. So every mass has a magnitude. Going back to the tug-of-war analogy.
Every mass has a mass, is all he's saying. Yes. The mass means it has a number of atomic bits, and they add up to the atomic weight, and that's the mass of the object.
In an arm wrestling contest. And this is exactly what a black hole is. What the hell are you talking about? Well, this is something we don't have an analogy for in our world, or how human beings conceive things, and it is really, really, really simple. So simple.
So yeah, he keeps talking about the simplicity of his magical theories. So it's so simple, because see, what black holes are is a whole bunch of massiveness, and then it gets so massive it falls out of the universe. Yeah, it's too heavy and it falls through the fabric, I guess. Falls to the bottom of the ether and sinks in the ether mud.
You're going to have an aha moment. If you have 5 brain cells, you'll have an aha moment. The only thing a black hole is where the dielectric, in the case, a perfect analogy between the muscle-bound goon, has overthrown magnetism's ability to keep that matter within the visible cosmos.
Okay, the dielectric is fighting magnetism. So now the battle is between the dielectric, the thing that doesn't exist. Oh, damn pen stopped performing properly. Dielectric fighting magnetism. Okay. Now I have to try to get some of this stuff straight. So first it was force and motion. So maybe force and motion is the dielectric, and inertia and acceleration is the magnet. And they're fighting in the big ether counterspace arena.
In other words, we have something, wait for it, that is incredibly, incredibly massive, which everybody is on the same page. A black hole is supermassive. It's got 3 billion solar masses. In other words, like a supermassive black hole. In Andromeda Galaxy, I think, has 3 billion solar masses. It would be like 3 billion of our sun. Okay? But
complete pile of horse shit, yes. They say. So he thinks they have nothing to say, and yet he's quoting them.
There's nothing there. Something that is supermassive.
Alright, so there's nothing there. So it's there, but it's not there. It's nothing. Like the heads on your coin. It's not there.
Oh, mass.
There is no time. There is no space. There is no energy.
Supermassive. We're all on the same page. But, which has absolutely no magnitude. Volume. Magnitude, volume. Well, how does that so? Smaller the space, the higher the capacitance.
Right, the smaller space, the higher the capacitance. So you can shove a whole universe inside of a Twinkie. No problem. This is just magical mush. So anyway, the whole video was just that. Crap like that. Just absolute fucking crap. So let's see who these turds are. Your presentations have improved since you started fueling your amazing mind on Katons or whatever. Keep it up, Ken. Love the field theory videos. Absolute crap. I was just neutron smacking latite night on a voice call. Blood sugar, I don't know what all this crap is. Basically, do you eat meat or fish? They're going to talk about diet. Flyer blue dog. I mean, again, how can anybody vote not to destroy planet Earth? It's covered with morons. Science as religion, both smoothie the soul, soothy. I enjoy this, Atom, and Einstein please, an exercise in marketing that only impresses the easily impressible. Well, it wasn't very complex marketing. I mean, a New York Times headline saying Einstein right. Yeah, that'll work. Everything is energy. So this is plasma, plasma, John Doe. Energy is conscious. Blissful blessings to all beings. I mean, fuck. I mean, these people are allowed to breed. We don't have laws saying, no, you can't do it. Space, and so Fractal Woman, who, I don't know why she plays with this asshole. Space and counter space and black holes, oh my. Fractal Woman, I don't know. She's a little bit nutty. Event horizons separate the domains of space and counter space. So this somehow event horizons. What? So those are everywhere too now. So I got a bunch of event horizons right here on my lip, like a herpy. Event horizons are domain separators. La 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 la. Event horizon boundary conditions have the property of self-similarity. I mean, what kind of fucking lunatic uses words like this? Self-similarity. Wow. As opposed to self-dissimilarity. I hate when that happens. The boundary between space and counter space. So space is something, apparently, and the ether, which is counter space, is supposed to be something else. I don't think so. Is fractal in nature. How so? Evidence, please. I mean, she really is a loop-de-doo nutter. I mean, her house is full of tie-dye shit and, giant murals of woo on the walls. The path integral between space and counter space is complex. Lightning, planetary nebula, galaxies, flowers. Flowers are like galaxies. Oh, this is such query little girl physics. All invisible fields, dielectric, magnetic. No, they're not fields. They're having a arm wrestling match, Ken says. Are the result of the charge process. Charge, which we don't know what the hell that is. Numeon charging. Numeon? All visible fields, visible matter, are the result of the discharge process. So fields aren't visible matter. So she says all visible fields, visible matter. So she thinks we're a field. We're fields. Anyway, are the result of discharge process. So, just fucking idiot. I mean, there's just no evidence for any of this mush. Counter space is charge, and space is discharge. So that makes a lot of sense. So Tesla said space is nothing, has no properties, but it's discharge. Okay. Visible universe is everything in between. So we're the little sparky bits between the counter space cathode and the regular space anode. The observable universe is in between space and counter space. It is between charge and discharge. I mean, these people are just insane. In other words, you are the event horizon of a fractal black hole. This is my black hole theory. Oh man. Crazy, crazy bitch theory. Here is the real-life example of fractal nature of event horizons. Oh, here we go. In this case, we are talking about a temporal event horizon, aka, please, translation, a bit, but some diff. Some diff. Electron Brink fractal patterns may be key to semiconductor magnetism. I don't think so. This is so interesting. On one side of the phase transition, the electrons are spread out over the surface of a semiconductor. They behave spectrally. On the other side of the phase transition, the electrons tend to clump together. They behave more counter-spatially. This tells us a lot. No, they are just nuts. When electrons behave spectrally, they can conduct electricity. How do they do that? I mean, so they're just so far from anywhere close to the right answer. But, electrons can't do anything by themselves. They're completely dependent on a group to be able to do anything called electricity. But when they behave counterspatially, they behave more like insulators. They cannot conduct electricity. Yeah, they can't conduct electricity unless they are under pressure, because they're not really doing anything. They're just being pushed, and then they pass the push on to the next guy. So yeah, you the line at Disneyland. I don't know how to make a metaphor to it, but yeah, so you can have people in a line, and then you could push one of the people, and they'd all fall like dominoes. But if you have people someplace else where they're all mixed up and all over the place, you can't push one of them, knock all the rest of them down. Yeah. Oh, anyway, nutters everywhere. Very grateful that you are who you are, Ken. Yeah, you're a gift to wisdom, brother. Matthew Mackenzie. Kooks. They're all fucking psycho killers. Totally agree. Love the videos. Keep up the fight, as your book should be taught in every school on this planet. What's in his book that could possibly be taught? It's a bunch of crayon drawings with a bunch of quotes just erroneously placed all over the place. There isn't any logic in it. It would help the human race evolve by understanding this. I just love to be able to interview one of the kooks to see what the fuck they understand. Black holes are simply black stars. Well, that's not what Ken said. F-E for the win. Brother. See, they're all full of this creepy jargon. I noticed how you do not get tired when you talk. Great improvement. You looks much better. Oh, yeah. Then what? Better than what does he look? Could you take your time to prove globe Earth would bring peace to mind? Oh, man. Ace McLeod. So either photographers are all psycho killers. Maybe that's I don't know how people gravitate to this shit. Ken, the center of the solar system is also empty. Oh, pitiful. Ken, do you see any visible... The center of the solar system, that's where the sun is. Analogy in micro scale to the holes as noted in transistors, semiconductors functionally to macro scale black holes. I mean, there's just such woo. Good video, trippy as hell. It makes way too much sense. What the fuck? LOL. Yeah, it just do way too much sense. Maybe call it a Die Hard. Oh, anyway, so this is the planet Earth. I mean, it's just, oh man, I don't want to come back here. Oh, so she did another comment. I vote for dielectric overthrow, or DOT for short. Ha ha ha! Wink. Yeah, that's hilarious. I don't think black holes exist, whatever you call them. Yes. Just heavy shit. There's heavy shit and not heavy shit. You know who you are talking to, right? I agree with you. Oh, then why are you playing this stupid black hole game? Relativistic black holes don't exist, whatever that means. Fractal black holes do. How does a fractal create a black hole? I mean, fractals are very spread out. The whole way you have a pattern is to have distance between things. It's basically a vector formulation of distance, not density. To clarify, black holes are an invention of mainstream cosmology. Oh, he's pointing that out to her. Let's see. To clarify, and regardless of mainstream, the black hole that I discovered. Oh, she discovered one. Amazing. The fractal black, read my paper, are the black holes that nature makes. If relativity never existed, I would still have called my black holes a black hole. The center of the Mandelbrot set. So that's a certain, she has a certain particular dildo black hole that she's really fond of. The Mandelbrot set is a black hole. The other gradient region is a photon sphere. This is the perfect name for the Mandelbrot set gradient region. Gradient region. It is a photon sphere. I mean, what a nut. Do you think that supermassive exists in the center of gravity and in the center of galaxies? Let's see. Yes. My fractal black hole theory predicts it. Oh, she predicted that the center of galaxies would have mass in them. Wow, she's really good. Oh, shit. I mean, it'd be funny when they all find out that galaxies are falling apart. You know. You are so ridiculously smart equals 0. Yeah, that's great comment, Charles. Oh, math easy solutions. Great explanation. First time I can wrap my head around the dielectric versus magnetism concept. Keep it up, Ken. How can people say this shit? How can they say, I got it. Oh yeah, I perfectly understand. Magnetism is blah 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 blah, and the dielectric is blah 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 blah. And yeah, you put those together, you got la 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 la. Is that how it works? Maybe I'm just too tone deaf to get it. It just goes on and on, these fucking lunatics. This is very entertaining, my brother. So there's lots of these brother people. It's pretty spooky. That didn't sound right. But yeah, I don't know. Ooh. It's like, dude. Love you, dude. Info keeps Gen Pops busy. Keeps Gen Pop busy. Viewing up and nonsense are mixed theories, often inflammatory response. I don't know what the hell that is. ITD. Who the hell is that? Hey Ken, don't jump off a cliff. Yeah, you'll probably put a big hole in the ground and cause all kinds of magma escapes and such. It's probably time to replace electron theory, as it seems more like the requisite field formation based on a respective atomic nuclear structure. Oh yeah, that was certainly enlightening. I totally get that. Your verbosity is top-notch today. Now, will the LCH put LCH? Liquid helium collider put drag on the Earth's rotation when it switches on again? It's just, oh, this is just too bad. Oh, God, the pain, the pain. Oh, please, Darth Vader, save me. Great video. I always knew there was an alternative explanation for black holes. Yes, that they don't exist because they disappeared. Because they have no magnitude. They got so heavy. They got so heavy they turned invisible. Anyway, I'm just so depressed now. Oh, God. I've lived too long. Too long. Alright, so nothing to say. Humans are so fucking stupid.